Hi everyone!
Hey guys.
Well, thanks for tuning in again this week. We thought we'd share twice with you because we've been hiding out for a few weeks, just spending time with this guy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share with you the birth story and how Ashland came into this world.
3 weeks early.
Yeah. So we went to the Jason Mraz concert, and Peter actually got us a meet and greet, so it was really fun to visit with him. But I think me saying maybe the baby will come tonight was not the best
Yeah, she
plan.
actually said that to Jason, which
Because,
happened.
Yeah.
Which actually happened. And I think it was actually because of that part at the end of his show where they're all like, you're all singing the same pitch going hum, and so maybe he was like, the baby was like, yes! This is my entrance!
It was this lovely, like, relaxed concert. I was up kind of at the end, we were swaying, and but I had no inkling that, you know, I wasn't feeling any different. And we got to the parking garage, I stepped into his sister's car, and my water broke. I know.
Oh,
it did. So that was crazy. I wasn't feeling anything. It was 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
So I called the birthing center and just said, so what do I do now? And they basically said, just get a good night's rest and we'll want to see you in 12 hours. So someone will call you in the morning. And but then by midnight, I really started contractions. And
Yeah, maybe even a little earlier.
things started moving pretty swiftly after that.
Yeah, I was the whole time I'm like, just go to bed, we'll get some rest because this is going to be a really long day tomorrow. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
She got in bed for like 4 seconds twice and it was like, nope.
No, thank you. I spent a lot of time on the ball.
Yeah, bouncy balls are good for laboring women.
I call it my birthing ball now, even though it's just an exercise ball, but that was the most comfortable for me. So we were tracking everything, and I was having surges like every 2 minutes. It was pretty steady. We called the midwife several times, and she kept saying, you know, the way you're talking to me right now, your discomfort is about a 2, and you want it to be at about an 8.
Yeah, right.
And so that was frustrating, but, you know, I just trusted her, and finally, the 4th phone call, I just kind of, you know, let her hear kind of the sounds I was making and how I was feeling, and she said, okay, I think it's time you can come in. So we met the midwife at the birthing center at about
like 4:45.
4:45 was the plan, and Mom and Dad came, and Peter's sister drove us over.
And you were pretty far along already. So she did a lot of her laboring at home, which was good, you know, so it's more comfortable.
So I just chose one of the birthing rooms. No one was there. It was very quiet. And we just got going. And I had Peter in the room with me, and my mom, and my best friend Megan, whose birth I was a part of in November. And it was a great team.
Yeah.
By 9 a.m. about, I was 10 centimeters. So things moved along.
Yeah, you started pushing pretty early.
I really felt the urge to push a lot earlier, and they kept saying, hold off because you don't want to get too swollen, but I just, it kind of
And I would just like to point out that she's doing all this without any drugs. She's going for it without any drugs.
You know, I really believe that, you know, like I talked about my ideal birth story a couple of weeks ago, the mind over matter piece of it, you know, I felt pretty in control for most of it. I really found this deep breathing and shushing was really helpful, and it wasn't something that we had practiced or really prepared for. It just kind of happened naturally. I do think the prep we did in terms of just trying to approach it in a relaxed, calm way helped.
Yeah. And she tried so many positions. She was like hardcore. She's like over here doing this, and then she's doing this, and then she's like getting up and she's like, okay, come on baby. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was like a circus in the birthing room, but
I was pushing on your back a lot.
yeah, I had a lot of back labor, which was uncomfortable. So about 4.5 hours into pushing, I think, once I had been really actively pushing for quite a while,
Yeah.
the midwife said, you know, I think we're gonna have to head over to the hospital. I'm gonna give it another 30 minutes, and then we're going to need to go over and have some Pitocin. So when I heard her say Pitocin, I was of course disappointed. I had wanted things to just go naturally, but I trusted her and just said, okay.
Yeah, it was because the surges weren't coming fast enough.
Yeah.
Because she was like an awesome pusher.
Yeah, I was pushing really hard, and then things would calm down for about 3 or 4 or even 5 minutes.
Or more.
Yeah, so it was frustrating because even got to one point where you could see his hair, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were getting pretty close. Or we didn't really know what was happening at the time.
Because he's like...
He's smiling.
Hey, smiler.
So, All the while, I'm not hooked up to a monitor or anything, but they were using the Doppler. And so we could see how his heart rate was, and he was steady as a
yeah, he was just a champ.
Such a champ. He was just hanging out. His heart rate was great. Everything was good. So it was a calm transition. We just headed over to the hospital. We just drove. Megan's husband Josh
cool.
drove us over.
It's 3 minutes away.
Yeah, Peter sat in the back with me, and the midwife was in the front seat. And this was probably the least fun part.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty frustrating. I mean I felt like it was pretty traumatic. Because emotionally, because we had both not slept for so long. You know, I mean, it's a very tiring, emotion-filled experience. And so when we had to go to the hospital, that was the opposite of what we'd been talking about for 9 months. So I thought that was, I felt a little bit defeated.
Yeah, and by then I was going on my 6th hour, kind of working on pushing, and then in some ways I was feeling a little bit less in control, and then I really started to feel more pain and just really not feeling as focused as I had been, and that really was what, you know, it turned it around for me. I was kind of getting really discouraged.
Yeah, well, because at that point, this is at the hospital, right? After you've already been poked and prodded and all the stuff that they do there. I mean, I feel like it's a phenomenal hospital too, by the way, but I feel like we were just so exhausted and you'd been pushing for so long that by the time the doctor came in and told us that this little guy's head was turned and he wasn't going to come the natural way, we kind of were both just done. I mean, I was going to do whatever you wanted because that's all that matters, you know, but I feel like you were so just tired.
So the doctor actually said the only option was a C-section. He had turned his head to the side, so we had no options. So we, you know, by then just said, okay, we're gonna do what needs to happen.
Yeah, I was very much like, is this a medical necessity? Does this have to happen? And she was like, yep. And I was like, oh.
Okay, yeah. I think if the other options had been the forceps or the vacuum, I wouldn't have liked that either because I felt like that would have been a little more traumatic entrance for him. But really there was only one option that we were given, and we just trusted that, and the midwife backed it up, and she came into surgery with me. And actually Peter and I were in surgery and just were by each other's heads, and we couldn't see anything, but the first thing we hear is, "Whoa, head."
Yes.
And his cone head.
Baby cone head.
So I had been doing the work because his cone head was...
It was ridiculous.
It was crazy.
You know, like the 1970s show with Chevy Chase and like the "Nanu Nanu" or whatever. Seriously, could have been put in there without any kind of makeup. It just would have been whoop.
First time I saw him, I thought, "Whoa, bud."
Yeah.
But amazingly, by the end of the day, it just kind of molded back.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they go through.
And I got to cut his umbilical cord.
It was awesome.
And place him on your chest, which was fun. After the doctor told us that we had to do C-section, there was a long period of time where we were just waiting for the spinal
anesthesia. I was by then.
Took forever.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna have pain medication now. It's gonna all be fine.
But that was like
that took so
like
long.
An hour. Anyway, so she's getting prepped for surgery, and they take her in there to get her all ready. And this is the point where the father gets left completely and entirely alone in a hallway for like 15 minutes. And right before you go in there, the doctor comes out and she's like, "So if we don't invite you in, it's because, you know, the spinal didn't take and we're gonna have to put her under." And she's like, and then, you know, and then they tell you all of these things that can happen. And she's like, well, and if that happens, that means that this, and this. And so at that point, I hadn't slept for like 37 or 38 hours. I'm feeling as though I'm on drugs just from all the adrenaline, not sleeping, not really eating. So emotional, and I'm a really sensitive guy anyway, and I'd already cried a couple times. Like, I walked out of the room just a little bit, just like lost it, because it was just so hard and trying. But that moment, when we left, I was like utterly alone, just completely lost it. And I went to Twitter and I was like, "Please send your prayers if you think about my family." And I got so much floods of nice, kind words from you guys, which was really nice. And my buddy Josh came and gave me a big hug, which was good. But it was a very difficult part in the experience of being alone, because we were so supported the whole time by the midwives, by each other, and then being alone was really difficult, waiting for them to let me come in. And so I was already really emotional by the time I came in there. And then, you know, like knowing that you're having major surgery right behind that sheet is difficult. So I was like, I'm just gonna look straight at you. And, you know, I got into the room right away, and we said a prayer for him and the situation, and then
within 5 minutes,
yeah.
He comes right out, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I asked if they would dim the lights after he came out.
They're like, well, actually, it's completely not done by then. We're gonna need to.
There's another 20 minutes of surgery, so
yeah.
Not quite. They were so accommodating. It was very sweet. But they did kind of everything else we asked for, but in the end, it's just.
Yeah, the only thing that matters is.
He's a healthy boy.
Yeah, and that's the only advice I'd give for you parents out there who haven't had a kid yet. Like you go about the entire process when your wife is pregnant, planning. Like, this is the plan. This is what we're gonna do. But in the end, it's already laid out for you. You just have to follow along in the journey and just be able to roll with the punches. Because the absolute opposite of what we wanted to happen happened. But in the end, like, the only thing that matters is the health of the mother and the baby, you know? So.
But I think it was good we had put a plan in place.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So we had a goal and we had a mindset established, and I think that really did see me through.
I just think, I'm just saying, I think it's important to know that in the end, the only thing that matters is the health of the baby and the mom, and not necessarily the way it happens.
I mean, I tried every position possible, so I think he just... There's nothing we could have done. One other piece of advice I would say is, you know, even though things turned out differently, of course, than what we had wanted or hoped, I do feel like centering yourself, and if you approach birth and the situation as an exciting, joyful, calm, relaxed process as much as you can, then it is more discomfort and not as much this horrible pain that everyone talks about.
Yeah, there's definitely a stigma that's, I feel like, incorrect, that gets pushed on us from the media and movies, that this is going to be the worst pain of your life and you're not going to be able to do it without all these drugs. And truth of the matter is, this has been happening forever, and people have been able to do it naturally. So just believe in yourself, believe in, like, the females out there. Like, you guys have the ability to do something that's so beautiful. I mean,
your body, trust your body can do it.
It's such an incredible journey.
And actually, I kind of experienced both sides. All the work, all the labor, everything that we did at the birthing center, I felt very good about, and I feel proud of, and I feel like I did everything I could. And when I got to the hospital, I didn't feel in control, and I was kind of giving up, and I felt fear, and I felt kind of all these things that hadn't entered my mind before. And then things really did get painful, and I feel like I really recognized that. You know, if I had entered into the entire situation terrified and just tense and ready for pain, I think that would have happened much earlier. But I do feel like
mind over matter.
Mind over matter. Yeah. And it really is it's a feeling of release, you know, experiencing the surges and pushing that baby out, or at least trying, you know, it's a feeling of accomplishment, and it's this really intense feeling, but I wouldn't say that it's excruciatingly painful. But I did feel much more pain once I was at the hospital and feeling hopeless.
When the fear came.
That was kind of the first time I said to Peter, well, Hugh kept saying, he's gonna come, you know, everything's gonna be fine. You know, he was so supportive and loving, and I finally was saying, no, I don't think so. I don't think he's gonna come. It's a completely different experience for every woman, I'm sure of that.
And probably every birth as well.
Of course.
Because that's the thing too, it's funny because we always feel like it's just the mother, but like, the baby has responsibilities, like, in the birth, like, you know, he's supposed to do specific things. And Ashland didn't behave, but, you know, it takes it takes two to tango. He's like, yep, that was me. I did that. Hey. But don't be afraid of birth. Don't be afraid of the experience.
No, we don't grieve the experience at all. I mean, I feel really positive about how it turned out, because it brought him into the world in a healthy way, and I'm so grateful to the doctor, and the midwife was so wonderful.
And the nurses.
Support, and the nurses were great. And we had a great stay at the hospital, felt very supported. We stayed there for 4 nights.
And that bill is gonna be ridiculous.
That's another thing about the birthing center.
Yeah, birthing center. Do it the way they've been doing it for centuries. You do it for like 5 or 6 times less expensive, and you get to have more control. But in the end, it's all good. Because we got you. We got you, babe. You're just sleeping this whole time. That's so nice of you.
You got used to the light. So like I said, I had a great team of people in the room. My mom was great and Megan was great. And I think I was pretty kind for the most part.
Yeah, you were really good.
At one point when my mom was touching my face, I said, "Too many hands." But
You okay,
Peter was just unbelievable. He was the most amazing person in there with me. He didn't leave my side really at all. And I just felt so supported, and yeah, it was incredible.
Well, it was awesome to support you. I mean, I just don't feel like it could have been done any better, you know? I feel like what transpired and the way he came into the world was like the way it was meant to happen, because I don't think he was going to come out any other way. You were pushing so hard and did so well, and you did so well, bud.
He's a trooper.
Yeah, you're a champ.
So that's it, everyone.
Yeah, that's our story.
Thanks so much for listening, and it's just fun for us to
We hope this was at least helpful for some of you guys. I know a lot of people will be pregnant, have been pregnant, are going to think about being pregnant, are pregnant now.
Maybe you don't even
You can do it. If you think the hardest part is the actual birth, you haven't experienced the non-sleeping yet.
Yeah. So the hardest part is right afterwards when...
No, he's doing good.
No, he's been great. Thanks so much for watching and coming on this journey with us, and there'll be more, I'm sure. I actually haven't even shown you the nursery, so... Yes,
we'll have to show you.
Still gonna do all those things I'd planned before he came.
The Disney nursery, that's really nice that you've done. You came early, you broke our entire schedule of videos down. I can't believe you. Jeez.
That's just a testament to what life's gonna be.
Yeah.
So worth it. Alright, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.
Have a great week.